everyone, hi, come on in, sit down. Get yourselves a nice cup of tea or whatever it is that you'd like to drink. Do you like my cup? I'm going for pink today to match my pink top, and it's very spring-like outside, so I'm happy. I'm celebrating spring. Anyway, there's big news in the makeup world at the moment because there's a new concealer in town and it's been getting rave reviews on the internet. So I thought I'm gonna have to investigate this because it's Estee Lauder's new Double Wear Complete Concealer. Now, I've been a long time fan of the original. Here it is, my old original Double Wear Concealer. You can tell how long I've had it. Most of that writing has worn off. But I've had a bottle of this on the go for many, many, many years. Absolutely love it. One of my favourites. Now, if you're my age or above, I'm 47, you probably feel like you grew up with Estee Lauder. It was probably one of the first makeup counters you ever visited. It certainly was for me. And it was back in the late 90s that I got my first ever bottle of the Double Wear foundation. And I've had a bottle of this on the go pretty much constantly since then. Because I've got combination skin, I can get quite oily. It's perfect. It's ideal for me if I want that long-lasting, semi sort of matte, natural matte finish foundation. That is my go-to, and it still is. Throughout my 20s, 30s, and now I'm in my late 40s, it still is my favourite. And along with it, I've been using this concealer. So when I heard that Estee Lauder were replacing that concealer, I did get quite nervous, I'm not going to lie. I was a bit worried about it because I hate it when companies reformulate a product that you love, because sometimes they ruin it, don't they? They add certain ingredients or they take out certain things and it's just not the same. So I was a bit like, oh, for goodness sake, why? You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's been getting a lot of love on the internet. Everybody that I follow that has reviewed it has absolutely loved it. So here it is. I had to go and get myself one to try it out. I've had it for a couple of days now. I have been wearing it and I'm going to give you all of my thoughts on it. But first of all, let's open this up so that we can see. It comes in a gorgeous square bottle like this, and it's huge. If we compare it to the old one, I mean, look at the difference in size, if nothing else. You get 7ml of product in this one, and you get 12ml of product in this one. So you are getting a lot more. This one costs £29.50 for 12ml, which I actually think is really good value. As the old one, I think this was about £25 for 7ml. So it's better value. But I was just a bit worried that the formulation might have changed too much. It makes a lot of claims. I mean, I've got the box here in front of me. If I just look at the claims it makes, hold on, just put my old lady reading glasses on. So the claims it makes, it's supposed to be skin perfecting, long wearing, featherweight formula, melts into the skin. The applicator is expertly designed to sculpt contours, conceal imperfections, enhance natural features. It's got a medium to full coverage and it's a natural matte finish. Well, it also includes the special polymers that move with your skin. So I don't know if you bought the Lancome one that they brought out a couple of years ago, but this one also contains those polymers that really bind with your skin and they move, so that if you've got quite an expressive face and you move a lot, like this area here tends to, this won't crease because it moves with your skin. So I think that technology was fairly new when this concealer came out, and this one also has it. And the lady on the counter assured me that it's more blurring than the original one as well. You get the same long-lasting 24-hour coverage. I don't know about 24-hour coverage, but it lasts a long time. And this is also more blurring on pores and things like that. So I thought I'd test it out. I'd give it a go in front of you now, because the claims, honestly, it's meant to be smoothing, weightless, creaseless. It covers all your imperfections. So I thought, okay, let's try it out. Gorgeous packaging. I really love this. At first glance, you think it's a glass bottle, but if you look a bit more closely, it is plastic, but it's a really high quality plastic. And when you pull it out, the doe foot, it's a lot bigger than it is in the old version of this. As you can see, it's rounded, it thins out at the side, it slants upwards slightly at the end. I haven't seen another doe foot applicator of a concealer that's been exactly the same as this. Let me just show you how it compares with the old one. So as you can see, this one, it's a lot thinner, isn't it? So let me show you them both together. So you can see we've got the old one and the new one. So there, it's a big difference. I mean, they both slightly point upwards, don't they, at the end? But yeah, this one is definitely going to cover a lot more of your face than this one. Which did concern me a bit, if I'm honest, when I first saw it, because the last thing you need when you are getting older is to apply too much concealer to that under eye area, because the more you apply, the worse it can look, I think. It can really cake up and really emphasise any texture or any wrinkles or anything like that. So I was a little bit worried when I saw this. But then after one or two uses, I thought, actually, it's not that bad, because the amount of product that this picks up is very, very precise. It picks up a very small amount of product. So you can really just place it where you want it without it going everywhere, which was what I was concerned about. So if I'm going to just put some on now to show you down there, I'll put a bit there as well. You can really sort of, you know, have this, you can apply it that way, or you can apply it that way. Or if you want to get in with the point, you know, you can just put it in like that. And it's a really versatile applicator. So I'm going to go in with one of these, with one of this brush. I think this was just from Primark, but I really like it. I actually prefer it to, you know, this It Cosmetics one, the concealer end. I actually prefer this to that. So I often use my fingers with concealer, but for today, I just fancy using a brush just for a change. So I'm going to just tap this in. And that is lovely. That is so smooth. Really, that is so brightening. So brightening and smooth. I'll just tap that in there as well. And yeah, that is so blurring on my pores. I can sometimes get some enlarged pores down the middle here and across my nose. I mean, look at that. Look at the difference. Look at the difference in brightness that has made. That's lovely, isn't it? So let's just blend in this side as well. And I have been wearing this over the last couple of days. I've had it for 2 days now. And it really is as good as everybody's saying. It really is. It is blurring. You can build it up. Sometimes if you have a concealer and you want to build it up and put more layers on for more coverage, it can look worse, can't it? It can look very heavy and cakey. This one doesn't. You can build it up as much as you like. And I mean, look at the brightness that has brought to my face. That is, I really, really love it. So I'm over the moon. I'm relieved. I think, yes, thank you, Estée Lauder. We know we can trust Estée Lauder though, don't we? They've been around for donkey's years. And everything from them, particularly anything with double wear in the name, I know I'm going to like it. It's just one of those brands that I know I can trust. It's great for mature skin as well. If you do have more fine lines and wrinkles than I do, if you are a little bit older, I think you will still really love this because of those polymers that it has in it that really move with your skin. It doesn't seem to crease into them. And as I say, I have been wearing this for the last 2 days, and even by the end of the day, I've not really got any noticeable creasing. I mean, if I was to really look in my magnification mirror in the window in daylight, there's maybe just the tiniest amount just where I've got some fine lines. And if I take my finger and just pat them out, it's gone anyway. You don't have to powder this, it sets itself, although if you want to, you can powder over it if that's something that you usually do. But again, as we get a bit older, I think the less powder you use under your eye area, the better, really. And this one does set down on its own and it stays put for a full day. They reckon it's sweat proof, humidity proof, waterproof, yet it is still hydrating, so it's not going to dry anything out. It comes in a whopping 30 different shades as well. So for a concealer, that's really impressive. So, you know, whatever skin tone you are, you should be able to find a good match for yourself in this. And just the coverage, look at that. I'm so impressed with the coverage. I mean, this is going to cover all of your sins, all of your mistakes, every late night you've ever had, every glass of wine you've ever had. You know, all these things that show up on our faces, this is going to cover them right up for you. I'm convinced of it. And I know this is only day 3, but I can already tell that this is going to be my favourite concealer. And if we just compare it to some of my other favourites, I've already shown you the Lancome one, haven't I? If we look at the doe foot of this, in fact, let me get the Estée Lauder one out first so that we can compare. This comes out, it's really tidy, it's neat, there's no mess. Now, the Lancome one, on the other hand, when you pull this one out, sometimes the concealer splashes out at you. And I was wearing a black top once, and as I pulled this out, it shot out and it hit me on my black top. I had to get changed. I wasn't happy. So let's see if it's going to do it today. Ooh! No, it didn't. But there's a big gloopy glob. Can you see it? It's quite messy, this one is. So you do have to wipe it off. And again, see the Lancome, this is the Lancome. It's just bigger, isn't it? And it just feels more cumbersome in your hand. This is the Estée Lauder. It's smaller, it's less messy, and you can be more precise with it as well. Definitely be more precise with this one. So that's comparing it with the Lancome. And I did used to really like the Lancome one. The packaging has a couple of issues, but the product itself inside is really nice. And because it has those polymers that move with your skin, you get a very minimal amount of creasing. Now, I also like this one, the Huda Beauty one. I love the product, but I hate the packaging. Again, when we take this one out, it makes such a mess. Look at that. There's a big dollop hanging off the end there. So you really have to do all of this and wipe off all of the excess. But I find this one very, very messy. And the doe foot applicator, I mean, look at the mess. The doe foot applicator on this one, the Huda one, is quite hard. So it doesn't bend against your skin. Do you know what I mean? It just sort of sits there. And again, I really, really do not like the applicator on this. It's not very precise. It doesn't have that lovely point at the top. And it just makes a mess everywhere. And sometimes when you close it, you can get some product seeping out in the join here. So you have to give it a wipe down before you put it back in your makeup bag. And it's got a crack. It's got a crack down there on the lid. I don't know if you can see that. So love the product, hate the packaging with that. And my other favourite is the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. And I really, really like the packaging on this. And I like the applicator as well. It's really nice. Let's see how it compares. So the Natasha Denona one has a more pointy tip. Sideways on, that's what they look like. So it is thinner as well from the side. Yeah. So I can't really knock the Natasha Denona because I do really like it. But I think on balance, I do prefer the Estée Lauder just because of how it looks on the skin and how smoothing it is. It is really, really smoothing. With this one, it's easy to apply too much and it can look very heavy and it can look a bit cakey on your skin. So you do have to apply this with a light hand. Whereas with this one, if you put on a bit too much of this or you deliberately want to build it up for more coverage, it still looks really, really smooth and flawless. And yeah, I love it. I'm really impressed with it. So that's a relief, isn't it? That's really, really good, really good. And as I said, I do tend to love anything from Estée Lauder with double wear in the name. These pencils, have you used their eyeliners? I've got quite a few here, different shades. Absolutely amazing. Last all day, never transfer onto the upper lid. They're great. On my lips today, I've got one of the double wear lip pencils. This one's in the shade Rose. I absolutely love that. And I've got one of their Pure Colour Envy lipsticks on in the shade 410 Dynamic. This shade is. It's a lovely, lovely pink there. So yeah, as a range, I think Estée Lauder products is probably my favourite. It's between that and Lancome. I do really like Lancome as well. But their blushes, the Estée Lauder blushes, are lovely. This one is in the shade Sensuous Rose, one of my favourites. You get a whopping 7 grams of product in these blushes as well. I'm just going to put a little bit on now just to finish off my face. And it's just such a lovely, reliable brand. Yeah, so what do you think? Do you like Estée Lauder products? Was it one of the first brands that you ever tried? Have you got your hands on this yet? Are you going to? Or do you have a different concealer that you love? Do let me know. So yeah, I will leave it there today and I will speak to you next time. Okay, bye-bye.